Okay, it's CJ again. Um, some people were concerned about the whole debacle with Russia. The whole situation. Should it be important to us? Should it not be? What's the big deal? What does collusion even mean? And if it did happen, is that a crime? Well, collusion is similar to saying accomplice, and we're used to the word accomplice. That means you were complicit, or you were a part of whatever issue or situation that went down. That means you either gave resources um, to help facilitate this situation, and resources could be information, money, any of those things. Um, and collusion in regards to a campaign, if Trump's campaign knowingly allowed Russia to kind of navigate throughout, you know, our political realm and help shape people's opinions. That's a problem. It's really a problem. And the way he was going around on the campaign trail, Trump that is, just touting how he loved the poorly educated, and some of these people feel like, oh wow, I don't have to have a high school diploma or a college degree. This guy gets me. No, he the only thing he gets about you in his mind is that you're probably easy to manipulate because you think with your emotions, you think with your feelings. And this isn't my opinion, this is their opinion. This is one of the reasons why they say they won the election, by pulling on the heartstrings of the people who kind of feel like um, there's a sense of Washington elitism. And then the whole idea of being elite has been spun to mean educated. Uh, to me, Donald Trump would be an elite because he's very, very wealthy. Most of us black people, from where we come from historically, we don't have wealth. We have a couple of rich people, but we don't have real wealth. We can say the names of the people we look at to be wealthy people, and most of us don't fit the bill. So they spun it so that instead of elite meaning somebody who's rich or wealthy, has a lot of money, who would typically already be totally out of touch. Um, no, it means someone who's very well educated and politically correct. Because we see a lot of wealthy people who give back to the community. You see what's happening in California. There are a lot of Hollywood stars that are liberal. You know, wealth in and of itself doesn't mean you're an asshole, or it doesn't mean that you are out of touch, because a lot of people still remember where they came from, or they're empathetic to where other people came from. Even during slavery, there were abolitionists. And before I get all the hate mail, that's just true. So you do have people like that. But unfortunately, poor white people will vote against their own self-interest before they'll vote with black people who may or may not be in the same socioeconomic situation as they are. It makes absolutely no sense. It's perplexing, very perplexing. It's a sociological conundrum, and what I mean by that is, what a conundrum is just a problem that doesn't really seem to have an answer. That's all a conundrum is. And sociology is the study of basically how society works. So if you have a problem in society that you just have this issue and you can't seem to find an answer to it, that's what makes it a sociological conundrum. That being said, um, if you think about it, um, every white person wasn't rich when our ancestors may or may not have been enslaved, depending on who you are and where you come from. I don't feel like arguing about that. Um, and that being said, there's some people who came over here that weren't landowners, the overseers and so on and so forth. Many of them, they weren't related necessarily to the people who owned the land. There were more poor whites than there were slave owners. In our eyes, we tend to just group all whites together and say white people. But that's really not the case when you think about it. Should we be bitter about it? Should we, fight against it, know our history, so on and so forth? Absolutely. However, the fact that somebody could know that just because they're white, even though they don't have anything, but they're not black, and so that means that there is a step up on the ladder in society, because we were dead bottom, and so they're at one step up, but they're not elite by a long shot, but they're not black either. So why vote with the blacks? I'm gonna vote against my self-interest. And what I mean by that is, if you have welfare states such as Kentucky, Alaska, states, Utah, states like that take in more money from the federal government than what they put out, because there's many people on programs like food stamps, Medicaid, that sort of thing. There's more whites per capita on those programs in those states than there are blacks, and that's a fact. Just a fact. But when people think of welfare, food stamps, so on and so forth, they think of Ronald Reagan's mythical welfare queen, of this black woman in Detroit riding around in a Cadillac with all of these different children from all of these different dads, with getting all these benefits for these kids. This mythical person. That's who conservatives see in their mind's eye when they think of social programs. When indeed fact, in many states, especially in the heartland where very few black people live, who are you going to hurt by taking away these programs? You're going to hurt fellow white people. And they know this, but they also know that these states are red states because white people are not going to vote for something that will benefit black people. They rather lose it themselves than to vote for their own, in their own self-interest, which is really, really sad. It's very sad, but it's the nature of the beast. And we can explore again later. Some other things that come along with elitism and that sort of thing. But I just wanted to put it out there. What's going on with the whole Russia story, the collusion, and how Trump could bamboozle so many people. If you look at his rallies, it's not a plethora of well-educated people. These are some run-of-the-mill, your regular, poor white people, or as they would say in certain circles, the poor white trash of white people. And, it's sad because you have all these marches going on where the majority in this country, we know that by Hillary's popular vote win, saying they don't speak for us. So I want to make sure I'm not counting in that basket of the deplorables, but that essence still lives on from slavery. It doesn't just affect black people, it affects poor white people too. Because why you think you're better than this person, like an immigrant who came and stole your job, if they got rid of all the immigrants tomorrow, you're not going to go into the orange groves and pick those oranges. You're just not. And that's not all immigrants do, but I'm just saying the ones who come here that are undocumented, that get that type of work because they don't necessarily have to show documentation, and it's more of a cash business. Those are not the jobs that these people want to get or want to see. They want the $40,000 a year jobs that the DACA recipients on the average have. And if you don't have the schooling or the background, you're still not going to get that job. I don't care if they deport all 800,000 of them tomorrow. You're not going to get that job if you're not qualified for that job. You're just not going to get it. And many of them are, because when people are not from a certain place, they see all of the opportunity there that sometimes a person who is born and raised there cannot see. And that's just how I feel about that situation. But we'll talk more about DACA later. All right, thank you for listening. Let me know what you think. Bye.